want and that I will say, but I want to pass it over to Representative Shontel Brown from the great state of Ohio to share some words before we allow our members of the Congressional Black Caucus to also speak to the American people.
Thank you to my dear friend and colleague, Congresswoman Kamlager-Dove, for leading our CBC Special Order Hour this evening. You know, I really appreciate your voice in Congress, from the way you fight for your constituents in Los Angeles to your work on the Judiciary Committee. You are such a strong advocate. And on the Oversight Committee, we are doing similar work, trying to provide the American people with some amount of transparency and accountability, because we have a president who doesn't think that the rules apply to him. And so here we are tonight to talk about Trump's first 100 days. And I would encourage people watching, shout out to my mom and dad. I know we have at least 2 viewers tonight, Sydney. But for the others, I would encourage you to check out Congresswoman Kamlager-Dove's social media series titled, "Is This Stuff Legal?" She's doing a great job breaking down how this has been a lawless White House from day one. And the truth is, time and time again, what this administration has been doing has not been legal. In fact, in Trump's first 100 days, more than 220 lawsuits were filed directly challenging his agenda. 220. And federal judges have issued over 130 court orders blocking or pausing those actions. So if you're doing the math, Trump's being sued more than twice a day, and he's losing in court more than once a day. They have tried to fire federal workers without cause, detain and deport people without due process, freeze and deny congressionally appropriated funds, and seize sensitive taxpayer information through the Treasury and Social Security. This is why Trump's White House is now ignoring federal courts and openly ignoring the Constitution. He doesn't have a mandate, he doesn't have the votes in Congress, and he doesn't have a legal agenda. So he wants to ignore the law. But we should not be surprised by this. Trump said he was going to be a dictator on day one. He told us this is what he was going to do. And I personally don't know of any dictators who stop being a dictator on their own. So we've got to fight back, and we've got to fight back in the Congress, in the courts, and in the community. My constituents in Cleveland and people across the country are counting on us to stand up, fight back, and use every tool we have to oppose this agenda. Because this has been 100 days of chaos, cruelty, and cuts. The Trump administration has broken the economy, broken the law, and broken our alliances. In just 100 days, this White House has shrunk the economy, raised prices, and put us on track for a recession. Now, President Biden handed him the strongest economy in the world, and Trump is running it into the ground, which really isn't surprising because this is a man who could not make money running a casino, not to mention who filed bankruptcy 6 times. So the disastrous policies of this White House are hurting the entire country, absent a few of his billionaire buddies, of course, but it's the people that many of us represent that are the most at risk. See, this is a White House that constantly diminishes and dismisses Black achievement. A White House that blames any and everything on diversity, equity, and inclusion. A White House that is trying to defund our public safety programs and our police. A White House that is trying to defund our schools. And a White House that has rolled back federal anti-discrimination policies that have been on the books since 1965. That's right, since 1965. See, in his first week, President Trump revoked the Equal Employment Opportunity Executive Order that prohibited racial discrimination for federal contractors. And let's be clear, they aren't hiding this agenda to make discrimination legal again. And that's why I filed legislation to restore those policies, and I am proud to have had over 60 co-sponsors in the House, including many of my colleagues here this evening. Mr. Speaker, it's been a disastrous 100 days, but I feel the worst is yet to come. This week, the Republican-led committees are working on Trump's Republican ripoff, a plan to take from our constituents so that they can give to the ultra-wealthy and the very well-connected. We're talking about health care and taking away Medicaid coverage. We're talking about nutrition and taking away SNAP benefits from families and so much more, because the budget they voted for called for $880 billion in cuts to Medicaid and $230 billion in cuts to SNAP. So here's the reality. 21% of my district is living below the poverty line, and 30% of the children are in poverty. I represent 280,000 people on Medicaid, 160,000 people on SNAP. These aren't just numbers. These are real people. And sadly, this White House isn't listening to them. So it's up to us to amplify their voice tonight, today, and every day. And with that, I want to say thank you again to my good friend, Congresswoman Kamlager Dove, for leading this special order hour. And with that, I yield back to you.